Shri Tripura Rahasyam MahatmyaKhandam, Chapter 15. Then Sudhruti divided that huge army strategically. He positioned the king's son Satrunjaya at the center along with 10 Akshohini army. In the front, he himself sitting on an elephant took position along with 20 Akshohini army surrounded by army leaders. To his left, he positioned Satruhana along with 20 Akshohini army. Similarly, to his right, he positioned Bhima along with 20 Akshohini army. At the back, Samaratapana was placed along with 20 Akshohini army. Behind, an army with innumerable strength consisting of great valiant soldiers equal to lions and who had never receded in any battle and who had spear and shield were ready to fight. There were as many soldiers with spears and discuses on the left as with maces on the right. Sudhruti, thus dividing the army and informing the king's son, was in the front on an elephant. Taking along with him the huge army, he moved towards Kama. At that time, Narada came in front of Indra, who was seated on Viravrata. Indra saw him, who was bright like a silver mountain, wearing deer skin, besmeared with ashes, who was in the sky like an autumnal cloud with negligible water, who came there with the speed of the wind to shower the rain of news and to see the battle of Kama. Then Indra alighted from the elephant and duly worshipped him by touching his feet and stood in front of him. Then Narada addressed Indra. O Indra, are you seeing the huge, well prepared army of the king, which is like an endless ocean? How can Kama, all alone, achieve your desired goal? Even though it is extremely difficult, it will be possible for him by the power of Devi Lakshmi. We should not count valor based on appearance, because valor is a property of the seed. A stone at the base of a banyan tree, even if it is big, cannot sprout branches and leaves. Even then, the army of the king is countless and Kama is alone. It looks incongruous. Therefore, go with your group and support Kama and please Kama as well as goddess Lakshmi. Otherwise, Sri Lakshmi, the universal mother, would be angry with you for your negligence. Then, listening to the good words of Narada, Indra, thinking that to be right, decided to proceed. Then, saluting the divine sage, he reached Kama along with the heavenly army, Maruts and others. Seeing the arrival of Indra along with the gods, Kama was happy and felt revered and spoke to Indra. O Indra, see the huge ocean-like army which causes fear in the hearts of the weak, which is decorated with varieties of flags that are fluttering in front of speeding chariots, which has elephants like blue mountains with streams of ichor covered with red blankets and mountain-born metals with horses looking like shining waves and which is entirely surrounding. Listening to Kama, Indra said, O Kama, how can you fight single-handed that terrific army which has spread all over and has many strong soldiers? Hearing his words, Kama, with furious red eyes, said, O Indra, I have never uttered a lie before. In front of your eyes I will destroy this army in half a minute. Have no doubt I am speaking the truth, O Lord of gods. The delay will be as much as the time taken by the army to come near me. Hearing his words, the gods, led by Indra, were surprised and worshipped Kama with words of appreciation. Meanwhile, the army had reached near Kama. Seeing that huge army, Kama holding his twanged bow, moved forward. As soon as Kama proceeded, Indra with other gods covered Kama all around, and went in front to fight in that great land. When the two armies came face to face, there arose a great sound caused by the instruments like drums, horns, trumpets, conches that were employed in war. The roaring of soldiers mixed with the sound from the axle of the chariots was mutually frightening. The two armies started firing missiles at each other. A war between gods and men commenced. Their well built, dreadful valiants of lion power, skilled in the use of missiles, fought with matching weapons and carriages. The fight was systematic between men and gods, where the charioteers, those on elephants, the horse riders, soldiers on foot, those with bows, mace, swords, spears, missiles, axe, rods, tridents, fought with opposing warriors who had similar carriages and weapons. A righteous war went on for a while steadily, with no anxiety, mutually desiring victory, looking for a weak moment in the enemy, somewhere dropping their weapons in between. Then the war turned noisy, fearful, and horripilating. The soldiers on either side, with tense eyebrows, inviting each other, uttered angry words thus: "If you stay in front of me, I will kill you. No one is there to save you. I will send you to the abode of Yama. Fie upon you, uncultured, who are talking too much uselessly. Brahma has decided that I am to terminate your life. I am going to kill you. You cannot run away." With such a terrific war in progress, everyone, blind with anger, failed to recognize each other. Then gods fought gods, humans fought humans. The dust risen out of the agitation of the army enveloped the sky. Seized by the rain of weapons, there was darkness everywhere. Even then, being blind with anger and unable to recognize, they killed their own soldiers. In their anger, they could see neither the earth, nor the sky, nor the directions. Unaware of day, night, self, war, and weapons, they killed each other, intent only on attacking. At that time, Jayanta, the son of Indra, came there with anger, riding on the elephant, the son of Viravrata. He faced Sudhruti with a huge heavenly army. They fought fiercely for a while. Then the army of gods, which faced the forefront of Sudhruti's army, was destroyed. Their legs, heads, hands, sides, eyes, ears, and noses were chopped off. The group of gods, losing their lives, fell on the ground. Some were totally dead, and some almost dead. A few others fell unconscious. Some others, out of fear, pretended to be dead, with their eyes closed, controlling their breath with difficulty. They were not casting even a side glance at the strong enemy, standing far away, and then breathed slowly. Seeing such a war, a few others ran away out of fear. Observing the gods' army defeated like that, the group of Vasus, led by Savitra, started quickly, destroying the army of Sudhruti, that was huge like a billowing ocean. Being killed by the Vasus, the mighty army of Sudhruti was quickly ruined like the group of clouds by a speedy wind. Some were split into two. The legs and hands of some were cut off. Some lost half their body. Some were pulverized like gingerly seeds. Seeing such a condition, others fled with fear. Unable to cross the river of blood, they ran helter skelter, and severely beaten by the Vasus, fell into the ocean of blood without finding any shelter. Some were drowned in that vast river of blood. Some, who were again and again floundering and floating, were trying to swim across. Some, desirous of living, caught hold of dead elephants as if an island, and sailed afar. Some crossed by holding onto a chariot's wheel. Some others crossed the river of blood with the help of horses and chariots. Seeing the defeat of the army, the young valiant adamantine Ranadhira, the son of Sudhruti, faced the Vasus on his chariot and angrily twanged his bow, which was set with gold and gems. Then he loudly addressed his soldiers who were running away, thus: "Return, return. It is not right on your part to flee. Righteousness, wealth, and fame discard the person who recedes from war. The atonement for the debt of the master is offering your life in the battle. Having said that, he approached the group of Vasus and spoke. Shame on you who are chasing and attacking the weapons, the weak and the discouraged. Enough of that. Look at me, who is in front of you. Chasing the coward is reprobated by the strong. Show me quickly your strength, which I will see. Then I will soon make you happy by my valor every day. Hearing the words uttered by Ranadhira, the Vasu simultaneously surrounded him like a flower by the bees. Even then, Ranadhira, who was amidst the Vasus, seated in his chariot, was formed like the Meru mountain surrounded by smaller mountains. Then the Vasus showered arrows on him from all directions. Similarly, they showered clubs, spears, double edged swords, barbed darts, arrows, and swords on him. Seeing Sudhruti's son drowned in the missiles of the Vasus, the soldiers standing at a distance thought him to be dead. They were sad as no one was able to release him, who was like an young elephant surrounded by lions. Then instantly the skilled son of Sudhruti broke all those missiles into 8 pieces each and hit them each with 3 sharp arrows. Seeing his wonderful valor, gods and men praised him with shouts of appreciation. Then the Vasus, forming a circle, poured varieties of missiles. Sudhruti's son quickly destroyed them by suitable combat missiles. Alone he severely fought with the 8 Vasus by revolving like a wheel, and the fight lasted for a while. Revolving like a vortex, he fought in front of all warriors. He pierced their chest individually by sharp arrows. He cut off the flags one by one, and the 4 horses by 4 arrows. Then with great speed he severed the heads of charioteers with his special arrows. Then with a sharp sword he wounded the Vasus in their chest. The Vasus were in great trouble with their flags, horses, and charioteers destroyed, and they fell on the ground unconscious like uprooted trees. Seeing the defeated Vasus, loud lamentation arose in the army of gods. In the army of men, shouts of victory were heard. Meanwhile, one of the Vasus, by name Savitra, woke up and struck Ranadhira with 3 extremely sharp arrows and roared before the other Vasus. Hit by the arrows of Savitra, the angry Ranadhira cut off the bow held by Savitra with a half-moon like arrow. With his bow destroyed, Savitra with his massive mace rendered the cloud-like horses of Ranadhira unconscious and threw the iron mace on Ranadhira's chest. The skilled Ranadhira broke into 3 pieces in space the mace that was approaching him like a highly fierce thunderbolt. Then, holding a very sharp sword and a beautiful shield, Savitra jumped onto Ranadhira's chariot and broke his bow and pierced the charioteer with a spear and angrily cut off his head with its crown. Ranadhira, the scorcher of the enemies, infuriated, having lost his bow and charioteer, picked up his sword and shield. Savitra with great speed broke them immediately. Also he destroyed quickly the mace, spear, and trident held by Ranadhira. Seeing the dexterity of Savitra's sword, Indra praised him. Then Ranadhira angrily boxed the chest of Savitra with his strong thunderbolt-like fist and roared in the great battle. With that, Savitra, who became slightly unconscious, moved 5 feet away. Again the strong Savitra gave a blow to Ranadhira. Meanwhile, Ranadhira snatched the sword of Savitra and broke his shank. This was really a wonder. Then both of them fought with their fists. After a while, Ranadhira, jumping into the air, pushed Savitra on the ground and sitting on his chest, hit him on the head. Hit by the fist, Savitra fell vomiting blood. Realizing that Savitra was unconscious like an elephant attacked by a lion, Indra sent Jayanta for his rescue. Jayanta, with deceit, hit forcibly Ranadhira on his back with a spear, by which he fell unconscious. Then Jayanta, the son of Indra, the great difficulty carried Savitra, who was still having some life, to Indra. End of the 15th chapter of the MahatmyaKhandam of Sri Tripura Rahasyam. Chapter 16. Ranadhira, struck by Jayanta's weapon, swooned and could not recognize anything. He got up after a short time and was ready to fight again. Then Jayanta came in front of Ranadhira in his chariot holding his bow and said, "Stop, stop," to Ranadhira. Seeing him, Ranadhira angrily chided him, "I know you as the son of Sachi and not as the son of Indra, because, like a woman, you attacked me from the back. Such a mean act is done by cowards. You think that you are manly, but you are driven out of the warrior group. Shame on you, the uncultured son of a disloyal mother. Do not needlessly cause grief to Shachi, or if you are interested in battle, then stand firmly before me. I will dispatch you in half a minute to the abode of Yama." Saying so, Ranadhira crushed the chariot of Jayanta with sharp arrows. Then Jayanta angrily flung his mace, saying, "O Ranadhira, you are dead." Ranadhira jumped and caught that mace. Holding that mace, Ranadhira said, "O son of Indra, well done. You are strong. There is no doubt that I am dead, but the dead one will kill you." Talking in this manner with furious red eyes, he broke the bow of Jayanta by striking it with his sword. When Jayanta's second bow also was destroyed, Ranadhira, violently holding the sword in his right hand, quickly sprang and instantly dislodged the crown of Jayanta and held his tuft and dragged him like Garuda dragging the king of serpents. When Ranadhira raised his sword to behead Jayanta, Agni, knowing that Jayanta was in danger, struck with all his might and fury the right hand of Ranadhira with a bolt when the gods were wailing. The sword of Ranadhira dropped on the ground from his right hand, which was hit by the bolt. He grew angry by this failure and kicked Jayanta, who fell unconscious. Then, holding the neck of Agni with his left hand, hit him on his head with his hard right hand fist, by which Agni dropped on the ground. At that time, Indra came there to protect his son. Seeing Indra seated on Airavata, Ranadhira jumped up and angrily dislodged his crown by slapping him. Then Indra, feeling disgraced by the loss of his crown, hit Ranadhira on his thigh with his Vajrayudha, by which Ranadhira fell deeply unconscious on the ground. Seeing the condition of the son of the army chief, Bhima ordered his charioteer to go near Ranadhira. On his instructions, the charioteer went near Ranadhira immediately, and Bhima got down from the chariot and placed Ranadhira on the chariot. Then Bhima himself, to oppose Indra, picked up his shining gem-studded iron mace, which could destroy the enemies, and jumped and struck Indra on his head with great force. Struck by the mace, Indra, with injured head, fell unconscious on the back of the elephant like a cut off tree. Knowing that condition of Indra, the divine elephant Airavata ran away from the battle to protect Indra. Seeing the Airavata which was running away, Bhima quickly held it by its tail and dragged it back about 600 feet. The length of one bow is taken as 6 feet. Being unable to escape, the elephant then, with its trunk, tried again and again to catch Bhima. Then the angry Bhima turned the elephant to the left and right repeatedly and hit its back with great force by his mace. Hit by his mace, the crying elephant made 3 rounds and fell on its knees, vomiting blood. Then Bhima jumped and picked up from behind a thunderbolt that was near Indra. While Bhima was thinking of killing Indra with his own weapon, the thunderbolt vanished immediately. Then Vayu, along with the group of Maruts, fought with Bhima to save the life of Indra. Even Bhima took his mess and, followed by many soldiers, hit the Maruts all over with his mess. Then the charioteer took the unconscious Ranadhira to Sudhruti's residence and returned immediately. Though obstructed by many guards, the charioteer, cheating them, quickly brought the chariot which had carried off Ranadhira. Seeing the chariot returned full with all types of weapons, Bhima climbed on it and with sweet words appreciated the charioteer. Then Bhima battled with Vayu using his raised bow and missiles. They the grew the grew-colored Vayu seated on his well-equipped chariot, drawn by deers and wielding weapons like a rope and a goad, showered with anger sharp arrows on Bhima. Bhima, who was covered by the heap of arrows just as the sun by the mist, retaliated and destroyed them with combat arrows. Then he pierced Vayu on his chest with a special arrow. The deeply wounded Vayu became immobile for a while. Then the Maruts simultaneously fought and threw fast moving goads at Bhima to kill him. Bhima, with an equal number of half moon shaped weapons, cut off their goads quickly. Then he wounded them one by one in their heart by using 3 arrows pulled up to his ears. All the Maruts who were thus wounded fell unconscious on the ground. Then the wind god, gaining unconscious, hurled a goad at Bhima. Very much injured in his chest by that god, Bhima swooned for a while, and again gaining unconscious quickly took his mess and sprang from his chariot onto the chariot of Vayu and hit him on his head by revolving his mess. When Vayu fell unconscious with his head broken by the mess, he was taken away by his charioteer. Seeing the defeat of Vayu and understanding that Bhima is invincible, Kubera, Varuna, Yama, Indra, the king of Gandharvas, arrived simultaneously at the battlefield. Indra seated on Airavata, Yama on his bison, Varuna on fish, Kubera on a man, the Gandharva king on a horse. Each wielding varieties of weapons, came with a common agreement to fight Bhima. Seeing that, Sudhruti went near Satrunjaya and said, O sons of the king, Indra and others have joined hands to kill the strong Bhima. Let us go there. I think that one single person fighting with many is really odd or dishonest. Everyone agreed with Sudhruti. Then Satrunjaya and others surrounded the group of guards. Sudhruti faced Indra, who was on his elephant. Satrunjaya faced Kubera, Satruha faced Varuna, Bhima faced Gandharva Raja, Samaratapana faced Yama, Viravikrama, the son of Satrunjaya, faced Vayu, Virasena, the son of Shatrugna, faced Agni, Virabhanu, the son of Bhima, faced Jayanta. Viragraga, the son of Samaratapana, faced Vasus. Thus, they, expecting to win, fought a wonderful war, which made the hearts of the cowards to tremble. End of the 16th chapter of the Mahatmya Khandam of Sri Tripura Rahasyam.